Hello everyone, welcome to the Scumdogs Kennel. I'm your host, Chris Williams, and in today's Cryptid Corner mini-episode, today we have a very bizarre couple of stories. One, we have a Japanese no-face in Yellowstone, and we have a childhood encounter with a gargoyle, folks. Let's get into the first article, titled Faceless Woman Observed Near Yellowstone's East Gate, a 1975 midnight encounter that still defies explanation, and read exactly what took place. In the winter of 1975, a college student and his girlfriend were driving toward Yellowstone National Park's east entrance near Cody, Wyoming, when they spotted a lone woman walking directly down the center of the road at around midnight. Snow was falling, visibility was poor, and what first looked like a standard traveler quickly turned into something far more disturbing. Let's get into the full account now and read about this ghostly no-face encounter, folks. Let's read further into it now. My story goes back to 1975. My girlfriend and I were driving back to Idaho, where I was going to school. We were headed toward Yellowstone Park and the Montana East Gate in a little yellow Volkswagen. It was around midnight, and it was kind of snowing. Picture a 2-lane road with tall trees and no moon, no lights, nothing but our headlights and the snow falling in front of us. All of a sudden, I noticed a figure walking right in the center of the road, going in the same direction we were traveling. In other words, her back was to us. It was clearly a woman. I said to my girlfriend, "Do you see what I see? A girl walking out here at midnight? It's probably about 30 degrees out." The closer we got, the more detail I could make out. I was about to roll down my window and ask if she needed help, but then we realized she was dressed in a very old, clothing that looked to me like 19th century garb. She had hobnail boots on. She had a long shawl around her shoulders. Her hair was long and brown, hanging down a little below her shoulder blades. Then I noticed something that did not make sense. Her hair was completely dry. It was snowing, yet there was no wetness on her hair at all. Nothing about her seemed affected by the weather. I was about to slow down when my girlfriend suddenly said, "Don't you even stop. Don't even look. Go." The way she said it shook me. I asked what was wrong, and she said, "Don't even look in the mirror. She has no face." That was enough for me. I kept driving. We were in that little yellow Volkswagen, and I eased over to the right so I would not hear her as we went by. I did not stop. I did not look back. I imagine most people wouldn't, folks, at that point, but maybe I would, to make sure that indeed this being, this entity, had no face, folks, and not maybe the mistake my girlfriend was making me have at that moment, folks. But then again, maybe I wouldn't have looked back because maybe I'd be too frightened to do it at all, folks, because that does sound completely out of this world horrifying. An encounter with an actual no-face, folks. A legendary Japanese yokai. But let's continue with this article. A little later, when we got to the gate, the ranger told us, "Sorry, the pass is closed tonight due to the snow." I asked, "You mean we have to go back?" He said there was a little motel about half a mile back down the road. We were scared out of our wits by then. We got to the motel, and fortunately the man still had a room available. As soon as we got inside, we locked the door and shoved a chair in front of it. Neither of us slept much that night. Even now, I still ask myself what we saw. Was it an apparition, or was it something that was actually there in physical form? Now, people have said before, in mythological terms, folks, that Japanese no-face could be a spirit or a form that another type of Japanese yokai entity can take, like a fox spirit, shape-shifting into such a form, folks, because no one's quite sure if basically a yokai is an individual yokai or just something taking the form of an entity, a person with no face. In most accounts, it's like a joke where the entity will appear as a person they know, then reveal they have no face and frighten them. Or basically maybe an acquaintance or, well, basically like a factory worker or something. You get the idea. Either way, let's move on to the next story, folks. Childhood gargoyle encounter near Zephyr Hills, Florida. Another winged humanoid sighting in Pasco County. Let's read further about yet another encounter with possibly the Mothman or just another type of winged humanoid entity, folks. Let's get into this account now and read exactly what happened. A newly submitted account reaches back more than 2 decades to a late-night family gathering in the Zephyr Hills and Dade City area in Pasco County, Florida. What makes this report stand out is not only the witness's age at the time, but the fact that he later discovered other Zephyr Hill area winged humanoid reports that closely matched what he had never forgotten. Recent Phantoms and Monsters posts have already documented a cluster of gargoyle-like sightings in and around Zephyr Hills, including a 2017 delivery driver encounter and later reports from Pasco County. So this older recollection may add another piece to an emerging regional pattern. Let's get into the story now. The following account was recently submitted by a 30-year-old man who was born in Brooksville, Florida, and says he has lived in the area his entire life. He explained that his Hispanic family often attended dance halls and large parties in Dad City and Zephyr Hills when he was a child, which was common in those communities. On one occasion, which he believes took place when he was about 6 to 7 years old, he attended what was likely a quinceanera with his parents, aunts and uncles, younger brother, cousins, and other relatives. As the celebration stretched late into the night, he, his little brother, an older cousin, and other children went behind the party to play. He emphasized that even though he was young at the time, the memory has stayed vivid with him. According to the witness, several of the children noticed something moving through the air. He described it as looking like a human body in flight, streamlined in the air, similar to the way Superman is often depicted, except the figure's arms were not extended in front. He also stated that the wings were visibly flapping. Ooh, I can only imagine what these children thought they were seeing, folks. And considering this took place decades ago, it probably wasn't a drone sign, folks, unless this man basically had this back maybe in 2008 or 9, folks. Somewhere around there, but I can't be for sure. We don't know how old he is. Either way, let's continue. He is very familiar with sandhill cranes and their appearance, and he firmly rejects that explanation. He said he knows exactly what a sandhill crane is and what one looks and sounds like, and what he observed was nothing like that. Instead, he recalled something that appeared distinctly human in form and, in his present-day words, most resembled a gargoyle. The witness said the figure did not appear small, especially from a child's perspective. The image remained with him for years, though he did not know how to interpret it. Then, roughly 5 years ago, after becoming deeply interested in cryptids in America, he came across a YouTube segment discussing the so-called gargoyles of Zephyr Hills. That discovery stunned him. He realized that others had reported seeing something very similar in the same general area. While he is not demanding belief and is careful not to insist on any one explanation, he remains adamant that what he saw was not fiction, not imagination, and not a bird. He still does not know exactly what it was, only that it looked very human and has remained unexplained in his mind ever since. And how to make sense of that entity, folks, that this man constantly thinks about. The fact that it resembles something that other people have basically been seeing for, I guess, years now, maybe even decades, is testament to his belief that what he saw was definitely real. Could it be that he actually saw a gargoyle or Mothman, folks? They, at times, do seem one and the same, though there might be a difference, because if you look at the classic Point Pleasant Mothman encounters, they mention that these entities don't have heads, but their eyes are seemingly embedded in their chests. But in some of the accounts from Chicago, Illinois, that recent Mothman sightings have been taking place in, they mention these entities as having, well, heads, arms, a torso, legs, and wings flying through the air, folks, though at times they mention that the entities' wings don't seem to flap. I have to say, folks, that maybe our witness here, did he notice that the wings were flapping on this being? Or was it just like this thing was just gliding through the air like an airplane? Now, we also have to ask, folks, I mentioned earlier that this could have been a drone, depending on the year this incident took place in, because we don't know the witness's actual age. If it took place back in 2007 or 2008, folks, it could have been a drone. Though there is a chance that maybe drones could have been seen a little earlier, perhaps, maybe prototypes being developed by the government. That could also be the truth, folks, depending on how long ago this incident took place. But what about the first story in which we saw, or basically I read to you, this story about this no-face encounter? Was it actually a Japanese yokai that was seen? Or is it possible that this was a ghost that, like basically with pale crawlers, sometimes they have no face, folks? Maybe. Either way, a yokai is very interesting for an explanation. But we're now at the end, folks, so please go subscribe to my YouTube channel. Read comics, they're bad for you. You can use the YouTube link down below in the descriptions or the chat to go subscribe me. Hit that like button for me. Make sure you're still subscribed, folks. Leave some comments down below. Hit that bell for notifications. Make sure to hit the part of the bell that give you all future notifications. And please share this video out. I'm Chris Williams from the Scumdogs Kennel. Thank you all for joining me. I'll be back again tomorrow with another great video, so be sure to come back again then. Until next time, folks, I'll see you all again soon.